I talked in a video about how personal growth freed me from my depressive and anxiety symptoms. The fact that I'm not perfect, but I'm a human trying to grow day by day. But in that video, I did left something out though. My belief as a Muslim about personal growth. Because when I discovered it, I did wonder, what does Islam say about personal growth? You see, during my discovery, the ultimate win for me is when I found out about Islamic figures talking about personal growth, like Mufti Menk, Yasmin Mujahid, Aida Azlin, Way of Life SQ, among the others. This is what I believe every Muslim need right now, but is lacking so much. Let me explain. I don't know about you, but what I've noticed about Muslims nowadays are they often talk about halal things and haram things.
Is this halal? Is this haram? Is this permissible? Is this not permissible? Is this really not permissible? Is there differences in opinion about it, whether it's permissible or not?
What's worse is, while mostly ask for themselves, some people ask to guilt trip others. Like,
Yep, that's haram, that's makruh. You shouldn't be doing that. That is not permissible.
and for those who ask for themselves, they keep asking over and over the same question in the hope of getting different answer. For example, is shisha haram? When the scholars say yes, they go to another scholar. Is shisha haram? And to another. Is shisha haram? It's like they won't accept the answer that it's haram. Or at least they won't accept that the majority of scholars have the opinion that it's haram. Or if they do accept it, then they would fall into another extreme, meaning falling into this pit of despair, thinking that they've sinned and Allah won't forgive, and then they're going to hell. You see, discussions like this will make things appear black and white. As a result, some people guilt trip us merely because of our actions. Some people will try to distort the truth, like the example of shisha trying to ask if it's not haram, or will feel despair, a lot of despair, if they do certain impermissible action. This is why personal growth is so important in Islam. It's not about how wrong or how right you are. It's about what you're doing in order for you to keep improving yourself. You know, those people that I've mentioned that I've discovered, they don't engage heavily in or stress aggressively about the rulings. Nor do they engage in trivial things like how many angels are in the sky, how many days we have before the judgment day, or how many Sahaba were there, the actual number. Instead, they focus on you as humans. You, as a human, are very amazing, with very amazing potentials. When you slip up, no matter how dark it might be, there will always be that light in your heart that will guide you into the right path. I'm not saying discussing about halal and haram things or discussing trivial things in Islam is not important. It is important, but we just have different priorities now. Humans are not perfect. You are not perfect. I am far from perfect. So we shouldn't strive for perfection, as it would make us guilt trip others and ourselves for our own imperfections. Instead, we should strive on finding strategic, most effective ways to improve ourselves. So when we do make mistakes, whether big or small, instead of trying to say that it's not a mistake, or instead of falling to despair, we should admit and actually own up to our own mistakes. And we should be able to bounce back and plan more strategically to not repeat them. And when you do repeat it, then repeat the same process. When others make mistakes, instead of judging them, we should encourage them to admit and own up to their mistakes and help them along the way for them to not repeat it again. And when they do repeat it, repeat again the same process. You see the pattern now? Let me give you an analogy. I think now it is a well-known fact that the toilet, despite receiving the dirtiest and nastiest things ever every day, I'm talking about poo, if you haven't catch on yet. Toilets are actually not at the top of the list of the dirtiest thing in the world. Instead, there are things that we use daily that never seem to be dirty that actually tops the list, like your phone and your keyboard that you land in your hand every day. Why? Because regardless of how much dirt is dumped onto these things, they stay clean if they are washed regularly. Despite toilets constantly receiving our dump, they are being cleaned regularly many times compared to your phone and your keyboard. That's why they're cleaner. See, everything will get dirty. You cannot avoid things from getting dirty at all. So the cleanliness of the stuff is not determined by how little it gets dirty, but it is determined by how much it's been washed regularly, repeatedly. The same goes to us. The key is, after mistakes, ask forgiveness from Allah, forgive yourself, and move on. And then repeat, and repeat. So you know what? Personal growth in Islam has always been there. Do you know how many verses in Quran telling us about the forgiveness of Allah? There are more than 200. And to ask forgiveness from Allah is special because it's not like asking forgiveness from humans. Like, you know, when you make mistakes with human, even after you apologize, no matter what you do, no matter what the other party do, there's always gonna be a little tense. Maybe it would be the best for you to not meet the person at all. That person may forgive, but forgetting is hard. Unlike when you ask forgiveness from Allah, it's not like Allah suddenly will reveal to you, you are forgiven, right? So it seems a bit ambiguous, right? To ask for forgiveness to the one who would not give an answer to you, at least not directly. But that's the point. You don't ask from Allah for His forgiveness that way, the human way, because He's not human. You don't have to wait and see until Allah accepts your apology or not. You don't have to postpone to start being good during your repentance. Instead, the way for you to gain forgiveness from Allah is to ask forgiveness, plan so you don't repeat it, and then move on. When you repeat the same mistakes or other mistakes, or smaller mistakes or bigger mistakes, repeat the same thing. That is what's special about Allah's forgiveness. Let's take me as an example. I like K-pop. Yeah, there I said it. I like K-pop. I don't want to hide it. As a matter of fact, I actually tried to hide it, but I failed. I don't know about you, but I can't hide what I like, so yeah. With that being said, I'm not offended if someone says that K-pop is haram. At least I try to not be offended, because especially as someone who watches it regularly, I do identify the haram aspect in it. It's not that hidden, as a matter of fact. Again, with that being said, I don't want to meet or be three types of people. The first one is the people who guilt K-popers to be bad Muslims.
Oh, what are you doing? Aren't you afraid of Allah? Would Rasulullah approve this? Don't you love Allah? Don't you love Rasulullah?
Like, come on! Firstly, they say it right to our face like we don't know it already. Secondly, I am more than someone who likes K-pop. There are things that I'm good at, there are things that I'm bad at, there are things that I'm trying to improve. I know that. In fact, Allah knows that. You don't get to shut me up by just pointing one prominent thing about me. The second type is the people who is trying to say there are no haram aspects in K-pop. This type of people usually comes as a response to the first type of people. And it's understandable because they want to defend themselves. I want to defend myself when I'm being attacked, but no matter how I want or even need to defend myself, I would not distort the truth. The least that I could say is there are haram aspects in K-pop. The third people is K-popers who guilt-trip themselves to be bad Muslims. I did this a lot in the past, thinking that I wasn't a good Muslim. But I quickly realized that this is not what I must do, because I believe that this is not what Allah wants me to do. I believe what Allah wants me to do is to ask forgiveness, plan strategically, and then move on. when I repeat it, which realistically I will, then I would repeat the same thing. It's as simple as that. And as for that strategic plan, I've done a lot of stuff, trust me. I've even shared it in a blog post of mine. I'll just mention it briefly here. Firstly, I tried to make K-pop inspired blog posts, meaning I try to think critically of them and take lessons from them and turn them into blog posts. I made a few of them and I'm quite proud of them. Check out the description. Secondly, I watch K-pop during incognito mode, so more of them will pop up in my feed. And the third one, I basically mantra'd myself. I try to tell myself things like, I like a group, that's it. I like their songs, that's it. I like them on variety shows, that's it. And to be honest, I'm actually kind of proud of myself. Like, I used to be way worse, way worse. So yeah, I'm proud of myself. And you should too. Whatever the thing that you want to change yourself about or things that you want to stay away from, I'm sure you've done quite a lot of efforts. And I will seize those efforts and will not belittle them. The only thing for you to do, the only thing for us to do, is to keep going and repeating what needs to be repeated. So yeah, can you see now how we can have more positive discussions that will actually alleviate ourselves than just halal or haram? Again, we're not perfect. When you mess up, it does not make you a devil. It makes you a human. The more important thing is, what are you going to do after you mess up? Ask forgiveness, plan strategically, and move on. And repeat when necessary, which you are definitely going to, which is perfectly fine, as we are perfectly humans.